to the Hardcover podcast? Vlog? Something? Yes, we're vlogging today, people. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And this video is going to end when we complete or perhaps fail our reading challenge.
Yes, so we have a lot of work cut out for us.
Yes.
For instance, my goal this year was 40 books, and it's November 18th? 18th, and I am 10 behind, so I have 10 books to read.
Which doesn't seem like a lot, but then when you go to do it, like, we're slow readers.
A month and a half? Like, what?
And I am trying to read 50 books this year, and I have 13 books to read. So I have an extra 30.
Whole books. Oh my God.
We're gonna hit novellas, actually.
It's time for those quick, like, 3-point, speed audiobooks.
Yes, exactly. So, let's see where this takes us.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the first clip of many bed vids, but books. That sounded really weird, but anyways, I have this much left in Wayward, and so people, this is a reading challenge mark off. So let's finish this. I probably have I just counted. I think I have less than 10 pages, so let's finish this book, baby! Okay, I just finished Wayward, and guys, I have to rate this 5 out of 5 stars. It was a little difficult to get into in the beginning, but I think that makes a good book. Donut Book Club said that this reminded them of Hamnet, and I agree. It's a really deep, depressing book, but so eloquently written, and the storytelling and the plot and the characters. It's in the fantasy genre, but it's really not. It's like magical realism, historical fiction. It's like witches in real life, like for real. There's not really that much fantastical elements. Trigger warnings, major trigger warnings if you want to read this book. But I loved the characters. I loved the setting. I really enjoyed this one. I really recommend it. We're done, baby. We're done.
Okay, so yes, I am 7 books behind, and it is an issue. I kind of have a game plan. Kate and I aren't putting any stake into failing. At the end of the day, these are self-placed goals. I mean, I know people whose reading challenges are way above mine and who are way below mine. However, it is a challenge, and I'm not gonna quit out of the challenge 2 months ahead of time. So we're gonna scheme a little bit here to see how I can hit that 50, because I would love to do it. In total, I have 13 books that I need to read to hit that number 50, and we're gonna split that into 2. We're gonna do 7 that I need to read to get on track, and then my 6 others. But I'm actively in the middle of 5 books already, so that 7 isn't as far away as it feels. First up, we have Book Club's November pick, which is Wayward by Amelia Hart. And at this point, I probably already have a full review up here on the pod about it. But at this moment in time, I am about 50 pages away from the end. I want to say that I'm really enjoying it. I just thought I was going to actually be really enjoying it. And so I'm actually in this just yeah, I like this, I think. Next up, I'm listening to Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. This is a reread for me. I read these books first when I was in middle school maybe, and I knew I loved these characters, but it's been so nice to revisit them as an adult, and I work from home, so it's easy to put on as I just do my tasks. I'm also listening to Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd book in the Mistborn trilogy. This is the audiobook that my husband and I buddy listen to in the car when we go long distances. So I'm only about 5 hours, I think, away from the end, but that is 5 hours of car travel, so I don't know when I'm gonna hit this, but hopefully it will be soon, or we will just have to listen outside of the car to finish her up. Hopefully at this point we also have a review up for Air by Saba Tahir. Victoria Aveyard actually talked about reading this when she had the arc, and she said it was so good, and I trust her taste, and I always wanted to read Saba Tahir's other books, and I just never got around to it, so it's really nice to get to start fresh with this new series. And the final book that I am actively reading right now is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I am buddy reading this as well with my husband, but we are just reading 2 chapters every night, but I'm in the last part. But if you don't know, these books are huge. It's 1,300 pages long, so it takes a hot minute to read one of these books, but I am excited to be finished it, and I think that'll be right around the corner. Now, I have 2 more books that I want to read to catch up and get on track for my Goodreads challenge, and that has got to be Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillings. I love that I have the sexy Barnes & Noble exclusive editions. I mean, look at that like shine on this foil. But I really do think that this Shepherd King duology just has such like unique magic and life and beautiful prose to it that I know I'm gonna finish that book in like 2 days, especially since the last one ended on a major cliffhanger. And finally, I have another YA fantasy, and this is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Peyton really wants to read Once Upon a Broken Heart to the point where I bought all 3 books in the hardcover set to read this with her. However, that is when my sister texted me and was like, hey, you know that that's a sequel series, right? And I was like, I didn't know that. And she goes, yeah, Caraval, you know the book that I have lent you that's in your house right now that I asked you to read over a year ago? That's book 1 of the first trilogy. And I said, okay. Now, I think you can read them separately, but like I'm not going to because I have the fucking book, because I told my sister I wanted to read this. She lent me her copy and I have held on to this for way too long. So maybe not come Thanksgiving because that's next week, but come Christmas, I am returning this book to her. I am finishing this out and I am getting on track for my Goodreads challenge.
Good morning, hardcover. Today I come to you with some tea and my most recent read, One True Lovers by TJR. I'm getting through it. I'm also 35 feet up in the air. Just show you. From my Toronto babes. Got the CN Tower right there, so we're good. Yeah, so I'm reading this book. It's really cold out, but I just want to be outside and enjoy the view.
It wasn't as discussion.
I'm on my way to my family's Thanksgiving, but I think it's the perfect time to catch everyone up where I'm at my reading journey. Okay, so last night I finished One True Lovers by Taylor Jenkins Reid. TJR, gotta love my girl. That was such a great book. I rated it 4 stars. It was a good book. I love TJR. A lot of people said it's her favorite book. I think I still liked Malibu Rising better. I read the book in a week and I was traveling a bunch and still was able to read that much. I do recommend reading it. It's a quick read. It's a good read. A lot of great quotes and a lot of like conflicting feelings and thoughts while reading it that I don't know what I would have done in that situation. So anyways, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
This book triggered me in a way I have not been triggered before. The one character I just saw so much of myself in that her chapters became unreadable.
Yeah.
We're literally less than 100 pages away. This is crazy. We've been reading this book for months now. Epilogue: Dirty Tricks.
Okay, so I finished... What book did I finish? Finished a book. Wayward, One True Loves. Oh, we started reading the... Aubrey's gonna put it in here probably before me. Christmas Under the Mistletoe collection. Anyways, it's 5 short stories by very popular romance authors. The only 2 authors I knew on there was Allie Hazelwood and Tessa Bailey. I have a lot of thoughts and you need to turn in, or by the time this is posted, that podcast's already up, but you should go listen to my thoughts, at least on the second one by Tessa Bailey that I just finished today. It's gonna be wild and not very Christmassy cheery. But what is Christmassy cheery is this cinnamon roll pie I made. I'm not a big pie girl, but I love a cinnamon roll. So I was like, can I combine them? And I did. So yay.
And I said, if I have to read about a BJ one more time, I'm never picking up a book again.
Honestly,
Okay, reading update is definitely necessary because I have been popping off on my reading goal. I think I'm only like 6 books behind, which is a little insulting considering I finished 3 books since the last time we spoke. But whatever, it's slow but steady progress. Firstly, Wayward is done and completed. That was our November book club book, and as you can tell by my lights, it is now Christmas time. It's one that I felt very strange with, but there was a quote that I wanted to share because like it really hit me. I think it like summarizes like the vibes very well of Wayward. If I must depart this life, I thought, let me live on in the soil. Let me feed the earthworms, nourish the roots of the tree like my mother and her mother before her. Beautiful. But I also finished Rhythm of War, which was like my crowning achievement for the year, honestly. I've been reading the Stormlight books every January for the past like 3 years, and Oathbringer, which I started this January, took me like 4 months to read. But because Wind and Truth literally comes out today, day of filming, which is like mind-blowing, I really wanted to catch up and read Rhythm of War so that way I could read Wind and Truth in January, because I'm like so scared that I'm gonna get all of these spoilers if I don't like catch up on this bitch. This is the 4th book in a series, so like it wouldn't make sense if I tried to explain what happened, but mastermind shit was happening, okay? And literally on Monday, I found the Under the Mistletoe audiobook collection. It's on like Kindle Unlimited and Kindle Unlimited Audio, and it's this short story collection of 5 smutty Christmas stories. I texted Peyton and I was like, okay, crazy idea. I know we're currently reading Air, but this is on KU for free, and I feel like we need a Christmas episode. So I sent that to her Monday at 9 a.m. By like Tuesday, 4 p.m. I had finished the whole thing. I need to be hitting that romance genre way more often because the ability to finish books so quickly, like that is why I'm 6 books behind and not 7. That means that we finished an extra book that wasn't even part of our like getting back on track schedule, which is great. And now I have only 10 more books to read before the end of the year to complete my Goodreads challenge. Next up to finish is definitely Air by Sabaa Tahir. I was listening to it while getting ready and I hit chapter 19 and I had to pause the audiobook to text Peyton because something wild happened that I'm so excited to talk about on the podcast when we review it. In the story, we've been following these 3 main characters, and the first 2 met up at the end of part 1, and like that's when their stories like kind of synced, but we never really understood where this like 3rd person was going, and she's been on this like religious journey, and I've had like deep theories about this because something malicious is happening with her story and she's not who she says she is. Like my theories are coming true, are being actualized in this chapter. Chapter 19, it was just like one little line and then I was like, wait a minute, I'm onto something. Something is cooking here, okay? And I knew that Victoria Aveyard had talked about how there was like a really big revelation like in the halfway of the book, and I think that's about where I am. I have the physical, so I need to check, but yeah, something nefarious is going on here, and the plot is thickening. Okay, real quick, I just got the book and look at that. Is that not halfway? This is the reveal. I am right. And I know it's deeper than it seems because it seems like she's just one thing, but I think she's actually another thing too. And that doesn't make sense. But if you watch the review when I finish, I'm gonna be right. I'm not gonna spoil anything right here in the vlog, but just so everyone knows, I've been a little concerned because I didn't read the Ember and the Ash series, and everyone on TikTok was telling me you're gonna miss too much, like if the book's not gonna be enjoyable. I'm enjoying this, okay? It took a minute for the plot to develop and like really understand what we were doing. It was just like all vibes, but now that the plot is plotting, it's hitting. Welcome to your time. So Peyton and I just watched the wrong Hallmark movie. We wanted to watch the Taylor and Travis one, but I Googled it because I thought it was a Hallmark. And so instead we ended up watching Holiday Touchdown, which is the one from Hallmark with Donna Kelsey. However, it was Lifetime that made the actual like pop star and football player dating each other one. So now Peyton and I have excuse to watch another cheesy movie together. But in the meantime, I figured it's probably time to finish another book, okay? We would love to get on track before Christmas. Book club book this month, Winter in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand, is split into like these really weird sections. So basically our last reading section of the month is only like 20% of the book. I don't know, super short. I don't like this book necessarily at all. I think the men are really horrible, but I heard apparently that's just part of the Ellen Hildebrand experience. But I'm gonna lock in and we're gonna finish this book. I have my Christmas tree going. I set the light to this like blue thing, I don't know, because of the cover, and I need vibes, right? We've got a glass of wine and let's see if we can finish this thing. Part 3, Love City. Wait, what? It says I have an hour and 5 minutes left in this book. It's like 3 chapters. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like 6 chapters. Well, we have a backup plan.
Maya loves that she is still learning new things about Eris. Eris is interesting, and Maya's greatest desire when she grows up is to be interesting as well. She knows that to become interesting, she must read, travel, and learn new things. Maya is pretty much stuck on St. John's for the time being, but she does love to read, and she watches a fair amount of YouTube, which is how she and Joni learn to make bath bombs.
Slay.
Okay, so Aubrey and I are actually about to record the podcast. Also, just realized me and my Jellycat are matching today. But we are about to record the podcast. I am on the floor at my parents' house. I wanted to update where I'm at in my reading journey because I haven't in a while and I feel really bad about it. So let's catch up here. I'm reading a lot of different books at the moment. I finished One True Loves, which is around here. I think I recorded me finishing that. I finished Wayward. Aubrey and I read those. Oh, yes, that's where I was at. Sorry, everyone. It's been a couple days. You're seeing these all in like sequential order, but like my life is like this. And anyways, okay, so we read those very smutty Christmas stories. And I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about all of that. And now I had to read my book club book. It's an Ellen Hilderbrand. It's called Winter in Paradise, I believe. Just found out it's a series. Not loving that one. It just feels like such a filler book. Like it just feels so pointless and it like irritates me. But I'll be finishing that tonight. And then Aubrey and I are on a mad dash to finish Air, because we said we would. And so I think I'm on like chapter 10 of like a 500-page fantasy book or whatever it is, in a very complex world system as well, at least for me, because it just feels foreign because it's in the Ember and the Ashes universe. Yeah, so my friend Atlas here and I, we're gonna figure it out, aren't we? We're gonna read our books and we're going to get this done. I don't know if I'm gonna hit my reading goal, guys. I need to read 3 books. Are we gonna do it? He's looking at me like, you better not be recording the podcast, Mom, because I know. Anyways, I've been talking too long. Bye. I'll update you tonight, hopefully.
Don't waste readers' times, authors, just to make more money. I will call you out on the podcast.
You're gonna get flamed at the hardcover podcast.
Honestly, like, this book's next to me. I'm just gonna say it. Like, Rebecca Yarros, Iron Flame, didn't need to be that long. Sarah J. Maas, this did not have to be this long.
Okay, well, I just finished Winter in Paradise, and that book was horrible. It was not good. I am going to ChatGPT the rest of the book series because I want to know what happens, but like, why is this series 3 books long? Makes no sense. So, like 2 out of 5 stars? Not it, but at least it'll help the reading goal.
Look at me, I'm the
I can't see that. I voted for that one. I voted for that one.
Family vlog style. And the gift giver herself.
What can I say? I forget what I asked for. Of course.
Ooh, yay. Now you can hold it up when you talk about it on the podcast.
I think I know what this one is.
Yay, just in time.
For me to finish it. Thank you, Joy.
Today I just finished Holiday Hideaway by Mary Kate Andrews. It was on KU, and they also had the Audible function. I love those when they give you the Kindle version, like the e-version and the Audible, so then you can go like back and forth. It's so great. It was a short story, Christmas obviously inspired. It was really cute, and I was surprised because Mary Kay Andrews is like, I don't know, she's gotta be in her 50s or 60s, but it was written like a 30-year-old wrote it. It was a really good story. It wasn't like overly smutty, which I feel like if you put romance and Christmas together, people automatically like to make it so smutty. But this one was really good. I highly recommend. It was really sweet, and there's a puppy in it, and like I don't know, it's just like a funny story. I think make a really good movie, like a really good Hallmark movie. Oh, that's what it felt. It felt like a Hallmark movie, but like, you know, it's a short story, so like it moves really fast. In the respect of a short story Christmas, even just a Christmas book in general, it's definitely a 5-star for me. But in general, like, I don't know, like a 4. But yeah, it helped my reading goal, let's just say that. But I just got home from work, and so I'm making some Impossible chicken nugget animal-shaped nugs for dinner. I need to clean up my kitchen really bad. I think I'm gonna make cupcakes tonight, but the main thing we are doing tonight, people, is I'm sure Aubrey will insert footage from our book club, book exchange, like Secret Santa we did, and I got Air. And so I have a couple chapters left of this. I need to finish this tonight because we're recording the review tomorrow. So this one has got to get read tonight. I do have some minor thoughts and feelings on this, and I want to preface all of this by saying, or honestly, I need to rewind here. This is like a warning for if you want to read this book, which I do think is a really good book. I think it's really well written. This is my first Saba Tahir book. There's a couple things. First and foremost, this is in the same world as An Ember in the Ashes, which came out years ago. That series is widely coveted. Everyone loves it, but Aubrey and I never read that series, and so this is in the same universe, and it actually takes place like 5 years past all of those events that happen in that series. And so the issue we're having is there's a lot of like Easter eggs and characters actually that make it into this series, and we just don't have that whole like fan base around the world. So one, we're missing out there, so it's not fair. Second thing that I did that Aubrey didn't necessarily do, I only got the hard copy of this book yesterday. I have been listening to it on Audible thus far, and I think that was where I went wrong. The first fantasy book in any series, plus one like this that has so many different chapters from so many different people's point of view, all of this information just got tangled in my brains. And so it actually made it not that fun to listen to, because I was so distracted the whole time trying to figure out who was who and what was going on. So I'm happy to read the last bit of this book to give it what it deserves. But this is a really great book. I'm surprised at the level of romance that's in it, because that doesn't really seem like Saba Tahir's thing, but I'm really enjoying it. This is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite cover of the year. I really wanted the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition because I love this blue, which is also my favorite color, so it all works out. But I just feel like I needed to come on here and say that. So I do recommend this thus far. I haven't finished it, but this one's on me. I'm at the part of the book where I have basically an hour left, and the like final battles coming together, where all the characters are going to meet up and things are going to happen. But I'm not going to lie, like the downfall of the one character in this book is really sad to read about. But I'm enjoying reading it so much more than listening to it. And now I'm just so mad at myself that I didn't just buy the book on Kindle to read it. But I already like it so much more.
Hello, lovelies. I'm a bit embarrassed. So at this point, I have finished a lot of books. I'm making progress towards that goal. However, I set off in the beginning, I'm gonna read these 7 books, and then I'll have 6 more to read, and I'm gonna get ahead. And that didn't happen. That didn't happen even a little bit, because I've kind of veered off of the course that I set for myself initially, and I should have known it. I am a mood reader, and 7 books like picked out for me to read, it didn't happen. But what did happen is I read all of Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. This is considered book 4.5 in the Stormlight Archive. I don't think it necessarily should, but that's where Mr. Sanderson put it, so that's where I read it. But honestly, I feel like I didn't need to. I feel like I could have skipped on it. I liked it, okay? It's like Doctor Who in the Cosmere, but it's like 300 years in the future or something. Maybe not 300 years. Actually, I'm not gonna say any years because I have no fucking clue. It's in the future, and it references events that happen in the Stormlight Archive, like the main series, that haven't happened yet. So it kind of gives you spoilers for what's going to happen, and I guess that's like interesting in a way. In my humble opinion, Brandon Sanderson wrote this book during the Kickstarter event, because this was the 4th book that came out in that, starting with Tress and ending in Sunlit Man. So he wrote it during COVID, and he was super excited, and he wasn't going to not tell you to read a book. You know what I mean? Like if he's gonna publish a book and he knew it was gonna come out a year before Wind and Truth, he wasn't gonna tell you, hey, don't read this book, it makes more sense to read it after. However, having not read Wind and Truth, but having read Sunlit Man, I would say read it after. But overall, I gave it 4 stars. It was nice, easy read, and I love the interior art. Let me show you some. Like, isn't that gorgeous? I also finally fucking finished Air by Salva Tahir. This is a book that Peyton and I have been reading for like over a month now. Can you tell things are stressful during the holidays? But I audiobooked this the majority of the time, and I think I actually appreciated that more than physically reading it. I mean, it's good, it's good. But the pacing is of that of like an epic fantasy. And so you really like chug through it to the point where like the entire part one of this book, I didn't know what our point was. I didn't know the story we were telling, and I was a bit confused. And I think audiobooking it like forced me to keep pace, forced me to keep going. Whereas if I was physically reading it, I'd read a chapter and I'd be like, okay, and put it down. And tomorrow we're gonna film our review for this. Hopefully Peyton's done. I think she finished too. I don't know, she's been kind of slower than me. I know like last week she was on like chapter 10 or something like that. So she had a lot to do, but I have faith in her completely, entirely. So remember how I was saying earlier that originally in this vlog, which has probably only been like 10 minutes for you, I said I was going to read these 7 books before I read these 6 books, and then that kind of didn't happen, but I'm getting back on track. I'm gonna lock back in, and I am going to read those books that I set out to read because I need to read all of them in 2024. That's been my goal, and a lot of these books I have been pushing off and off and off. Like, I'm sure there's videos of me back in August being like, I'm gonna read Clockwork Prince, and it's gonna be so easy. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I've been trying. I've been spending hours, you know, with the holidays. Jacob and I have been listening to Hero of Ages, and we're moving forward in this story. It's just, it's not finished. It's not finished, y'all. But I am gonna finish, and what I'm so fucking excited about, because book 1 of this series was one of my favorite reads of all time. I loved this book, and I can't wait for part 2. 2 Twisted Crowns. I had the sexy versions from Barnes & Noble that I pre-ordered like months before it came out because I was so excited, and I needed a hardcover copy, and this is the only like hardcover you can get in the US. So there's something so like gothic and whimsical and twisted, and I love the vibes of Rachel Gilling's writing so much. I know this is gonna be such an easy read, and what's also great is I probably won't read a lot from my special beautiful copy because it's also on Kindle Unlimited, and there's something so special to me about opening up my phone and just reading like that. It's bad because I then also will get distracted on other apps like TikTok and stuff, but it's so much easier, and it's so much lighter, and I'm already gonna have the mark in my pinky from holding my phone too much. So anyways, I'm off to read.
All right, I have 10 minutes left to Two Can Play by Allie Hazelwood. This is an Amazon original, audiobook only, and I absolutely love this. It's a perfect Christmas romance. It's getting us all into the Christmas season. I think Aubrey's reading it or listening to it as well. Right now, this is like 4 out of 5 stars. Absolutely loving it. Can confirm. Love Two Can Play. And we love women in STEM.
Air by Salva Tahir. This was very fun. I was a little bit nervous once we started it, knowing it was so heavily connected to Ember in the Ashes and having read that. But I think this was a well-worthy read.
Yes, queens, yes. It's his hardcover approved, definitely. Love this book.
Yes.
This is probably my favorite cover of the year, too.
I'm a little confused by the cover, but it slays.
I really love this cover. We got the
I think
Barnes
it's
& Noble one.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I just don't know the plot relevance of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
I kept waiting for like the big mountain scene.
A Chick-fil-A opened up near me, so naturally I am on my lunch break now eating a kid's meal. But I thought this was a good time to do a little check-in, a little pulse check on where your girl is at for her Goodreads challenge. I did finish Air. We really loved that book. I gave it 4 stars. I already gave my disclaimer. Seemed like a me problem. Could not retain the epic fantasy audiobook there. That I had a little bit of difficulties, but loved reading it. Great book. Salva Tahir deserves so many flowers. Her work is so original. Her prose is amazing. I could just eat it up. So great. Right now, I spur of the moment found on KU a Rebecca Yarros book. Obviously, she's the author of Fourth Wing, that whole series. I have read one other book of hers before. I was trying to think of the name there. It's called The Last Letter, I believe. It's a military romance, and a lot of her contemporary like romance fiction are all centered around the guy is usually in some sort of military something or another. So in Variation, he's in the Coast Guard, and the girl love interest is a ballerina. Not what you think I'd be into, but man, I just love Rebecca Yarros's writing. She's like my Colleen Hoover. I love her writing. I read her stuff very fast. It's enticing. I eat it up. I just, even like the book cover designs of her like more just standard romance novels, they look like Colleen Hoover's covers too. So it's so funny. So I am here to say, not a huge Colleen Hoover fan, love Rebecca Yarros. So, and a girl needs to get through and start reading these books. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm chapter 22 and I think there's like 40 chapters. So I'm about halfway through and I'm looking to finish this today or tomorrow. So that's where we're at. Wish me luck. Okay, I just finished Variation by Rebecca Yarros. I really enjoyed this book. It was a good read. And it was pretty long. It was like 450 pages, which is insane that I read all of that. But another one down, I've started this book on Wednesday. So I'm pretty proud of myself. But yeah, I recommend this. It was fun.
Good morning, everyone. Happy winter solstice. It is officially Peyton's birthday and Feyre's birthday to all who celebrate. And guys, I gotta be real. I haven't read a damn thing. This reading challenge isn't looking good. Send help. There's no progress to report on, which is kind of why I'm making this video, because I think maybe if I like put it out here between you and me how embarrassing it is that in this final push, I haven't read anything in the last like 3 days. Maybe that will help me like lock back in. Since today is winter solstice, that means we have 10 days left. 10 days left and I have 7 fucking books to read. Kill me now. Kill me now, actually. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. Well, maybe, because I have a plan. I have a plan, and the plan is something called novellas. I think I just need to start listening to like the 4-hour novellas on Audible on 2x, 3x speed and like start clocking them in. Ali Hazelwood has a new like wintry one called Two Can Play that Peyton keeps talking about, and I think she's actually listened to it already, but I think I am definitely gonna have to put that one in as well. I think I'm starting to become an Ali Hazelwood fan this year, okay? So we read Bride back when that came out because that was like an introduction for us, since it was a little fantasy. It was like paranormal, supernatural, which felt right for us fantasy girls. And then earlier in this video when we listened to the Under the Mistletoe collection, Ali Hazelwood's short story was the only one I liked, and that girl slayed. Like that was a 5-star short story Christmas story. It was perfect. I loved the tension. I loved the flashbacks, which added stakes to the story. You genuinely believe that they could be in love, and even at the end they didn't say I love you. They were like, oh, next year we're gonna say I love you, and she was like, I think I'm gonna say it back, and it was so freaking cute compared to what the rest of them were, which is just like glorified sex time. I am still reading Two Twisted Crowns. I'm like 50% of the way in. It is so good, so good. I freaking love Rachel Gillings. All of her writing is just perfection. And this one's a little bit more romantic, and it was a romance between two people that I predicted would be like together in our review of One Dark Window, but like I didn't realize they were gonna be this together. Their story, their little romance happening here at Stone is popping the fuck off, and I just love the imagery that Rachel uses. I'm so excited to finish this one, and I think actually talking about it right now just made me more excited to actually go and finish the book. So that's what I'm gonna go do. Bye!
So I have 2 more books left to finish my reading goal for the year. So I'm on a mad dash, and the holiday books have been very helpful. But I'm back on my fantasy grind, and I started Two Twisted Crowns. That's the second book in the Dark Shepherd series. First one is One Dark Window. I don't really know what the whole series is called. But I have to vlog because my birthday was yesterday, and my fiance surprised me, and we stayed the night in a local hotel. We live near Philly, so I have to show you my reading view today. It is amazing. And now I can show off my new Kindle case too. Isn't this so cute? Look at this. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it.
These books didn't hit for me. I think the writing's bad. I think the story is stolen. The banter in this made me want to pull my eyes out. You know what I mean? Like it was bad. And I thought the novella would be better, and it wasn't. So that's life.
You want to be in the podcast? Oh, say hello. Say Say hello. Oh, my name is Atlas. I'm a very cute boy. I hate to be held, but I love attention. I know. Hello, Merry Christmas. Reporting back in on December 29th. In times of stress, we audiobook. We have 3 days left until the New Year's, and I still have 4 books that I need to read. But that does mean that I finished 2. During the holiday travels, Jacob and I finished Hero of Ages. The ending, I was not prepared for how epic in proportions this ending was. This is the 3rd Mistborn book. I genuinely feel like it should have been spoiled for me just how amazing and awesome this ending was. I don't know how it wasn't. I don't know how I didn't know the stuff that was going to happen was going to happen. Why we're not talking about it enough online. And obviously I can't even talk about it here because I don't want to spoil it for y'all. But if you have read Hero of Ages, what the fuck? What the fuck? I also audiobooked Clockwork Prince here, and I finished that. I've been talking about finishing this audiobook since the summer, maybe? Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I thought that I had so much less time in it than I did, but I think when we started this challenge, I was on chapter 2. I was not as far into it as I thought I was, and I probably should have just picked something else to wrap up the year, but I'm glad that I finished it. This is another reread or re-listen, and I put in my Goodreads review that I just love it when a book that meant so much to me as a kid then holds up as an adult. The fact that this book still felt amazing and I still was deeply in love with these characters and this world and the plot as an adult, really shook me to my core. Because there have been other series that I have tried to get back into to perhaps finish later in life, and I've been this actually is unreadable. This is meant for children, you know what I mean? And this YA Shadowhunter series has held up. Which brings us back to our final solid goal. We have finished 9 books so far in this reading journey, which is fucking wild. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to complete this challenge, and I still might not, but it's looking better. We have 3 days left and 4 books to read. How do I plan to do this? Well, for one, I am 50% of the way through to Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gilling. That's this gorgeous baby, even though I'm reading it entirely on my phone. It also lets me know how long you have estimated left in the book, and that is at 4 hours. So I should be able to, if I just read an hour here and there each day, I should be able to knock it out. Once I hit that last 100 pages, I'm just gonna sit down and finish it. So my goal is to make sure I timer myself and today read a full hour of it and not before bed, because that's where I get into trouble a lot, is that I like to take my Kindle reads and I'll just read a chapter before bed. Then I get in bed and I have my phone out and I go, I could open the Kindle app or I could open the TikTok app. And I make one decision a little bit more than the other. So instead, I'm going to force myself, and not even force, because I really love this book. I love this story. I love where it's going. I'm always super interested when I'm reading it. I just need to stop reading it the 20 minutes before I go to bed. You know what I mean? I need to sit and enjoy it. I need to put on the vibey music. I need to get a nice drink in my hand and just enjoy these last 4 hours. But that should be fairly easy. For my other 3, my challenge that I'm giving myself is I really want to read Caraval. This was another one of the books that I picked out to read at the beginning of November. I said at the end of November that I was going to read Caraval in order to get on track for my Goodreads. And then I was gonna have an easy December. Well, that didn't happen. And it still hasn't happened. And I thought that I could take this physical to home for Christmas, because I was there's no better feeling than if I'm at home for Christmas and everyone's on their phones and I pull out a physical copy to read. I'm gonna look so much better than everyone else. Well, I'm on page 23. So apparently I wasn't better than everyone else and I spent time on my phone. But I really want to finish this book. I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. I mean, 20 pages in isn't a very good estimate, but from everything I've seen, from the people who recommended this for me, I own the Once Upon a Broken Heart series and I want to read that, and I have to read this first because I want to read it in the right order. I just have to do it. But I'm gonna assume that this is gonna take me 10 hours, and I don't really have 10 hours. Not in the slightest. So this is my hopeful. I have a backup plan. Then for my final 2, I was going through my Goodreads want to read section, my little TBR, to try to find the shortest books on the list. And that's when I remembered that back in like August, I made a video saying, hey, I want to catch up on my reading goal. Didn't happen. What are super short books that you guys love? And I got a few comments, but there was one that I added to my TBR. Like, it looked interesting enough, and I don't even remember really what it's about any longer, but I know that it's sci-fi, and I don't do a lot of sci-fi, but it's A Song for the Wild Built, and it's only 150 pages. And so I'm gonna clock in and do that, but I'm gonna do it on Audible. It's like $5 or something like that right now. And it has a sequel. So I'm hoping for my 3rd and 4th book that I have to finish, I can just listen to these back to back. They're only like 4 hours long. So by the time I put it on 3x speed, that's easy. That's like 4 hours to do both.
I am so upset that this is my first time actually opening my physical copy of this book. It is so dang pretty. The pages are so white. I love it. Love, love, love. So I plan on sitting right here and I want to finish this book. I'm really enjoying it. Once again, you just don't like multiple POVs. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. I don't know what my cat's doing right now though. She's trying to get here underneath the covers. But I'm on chapter 35. So we're cooking. I just am so happy. Like, look, on every page. Are you joking? Are you kidding?
Hello. Despite the full face of makeup, I feel like shit. And that's actually the makeup is covering the redness in my nose and in my life. But I finished Two Twisted Crowns, and I'm very excited about it. It was gobsmacked. It was very good. Now I just have to listen to novellas that I talked about the other day, the Monk and the Robot novellas, and read a whole other book. I'm feeling like shit.
I'm chicken sitting and I'm trying to get them all into the coop. Come on. Yay, good girl. Up, up, up. Good job. Gotta keep you guys safe.
It's New Year's Eve. I have to read one more book today. I have read 40 books this year. I have to do it. I'm 1 book away from my reading goal. If I don't get it done, I'm going to hate myself forever. So the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, I have been wanting to read the 2nd book in that, and I do have it. So my goal, my plan is, because I just finished Two Twisted Crowns, 5-star series. Oh my God, I loved it so much. And I knew it in the podcast. I rated it 4 stars, and Aubrey was like, girl, and I was like, just hold on. Best series of the year. I'm actually kind of sad it's not a trilogy, but love it. Favorite book series of 2024. We're ending on a good note, but we've got to finish this book challenge. I am not giving up. Even if I have to ignore everyone at the New Year's Eve party tonight, I will. I'm finishing this book.
Happy New Year! It is New Year's Eve. I am on my way to Peyton's parents' house for the New Year's Eve party, and I have completed my goal. Yep. That is right. I didn't think I was gonna make it there. It was looking a little iffy, but yesterday I listened to both A Song for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the something. I don't know, City something. I don't know. It was book 2 in the Monk and Robot series. But those little novellas were actually so sweet, and I felt like heartwarming. It's like about like a person and a robot trying to be friends and like learn more about one another. What does it mean to confront stereotypes, and like how do you react when things of a stereotype of you, and then you have to be like, no, like that's not true. Like think about it from your perspective. It was cute. If you can't tell, I am in a costume right now. Peyton's family's New Year's Eve party is a murder mystery, and I am like a 50s waitress. And this costume, it's so tight on my arms that it like physically hurts to hold up my phone to vlog because it's like just squeezing on me. So I finished both of those yesterday, and when I tell you today, the last day of the year, the last day of 2024, I had 1 book left in my reading goal, and I wasn't gonna not finish. However, I also have a cold. You can probably hear it in my voice. So I felt so utterly like disgusting. I laid on the couch with my tissues and my heated blanket listening to Caraval by Stephanie Garber at 30x speed with my eyes shut for a majority of the day. It's like a 10-hour audiobook that I consumed in 3 hours. And I could have picked a shorter book, like a 4-hour book to sped up again like I did with the Two Can Play and the Monk and Robot series. But I really wanted to
read Caraval. Like, it's been on my TBR for so long. I didn't want to miss out on it just because, oh, there's the sun. I didn't want to miss out on it just because I was stupid and waited to the last day of the year to read it. And I didn't want to push it aside any further. So I listened to it, and it was a really good story. I had in my head the whole time that, like, I know it's a song, but like the TikTok where it's like, you already bought a ticket and there's no going back now. Dun 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 dun. Because people do edits to Caraval with that, and it really did fit the vibe. But I really enjoyed Caraval. It was very entertaining, especially the fact that like I could listen to it and read it in one day at 3x speed and not get bored. A perfect sick book, if you will. But that means I am done. 50 out of 50. I read all of the books that I needed to. I'm feeling so good about that. I truly did not believe that I was going to get here. Now we are off to Peyton's house for the party.
I think it's almost 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and I just finished my 40th book of the year. Like, seriously, I'm about to get dressed up in that for a murder mystery party, and we did it. We did it. It feels so good.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2025.
Oh my goodness, we're here.
I cannot believe it. And drum roll, please. I did it! We both completed our reading challenge.
I'm really impressed.
I was not expecting it.
Especially with Aubrey, because she had to read like literally 10 books or something like
Well, it was still at like 7 on like the 20th.
Like, if we had this much like pomp like during the year,
yeah,
we read over 100 books.
So many. Like, I think I read 5 books or 4 books start to finish in like a week. Can you imagine if you did 4 books?
I know. I was thinking how
Every
long
week?
it took me to read like One Dark Window, the first book, and then we read the second one, and I read it in like 2 days. I was like, oh my god, look at her go.
We just need the pressure.
The competition of like, I will not fail.
Yes, literally like filming this video and being like, okay, I need to finish it for this. And also like when everyone posts their like little story graphics, the stress that gave me. Everyone was posting their like year in books.
And I'm like, I got 3 more.
And yeah, they were doing it on like the 20th. And I was like, literally when I posted mine, I was like, I needed every last hour.
I literally went to the last hour. But we did it. Do we want to say what our goals are for next year? We did this already in the podcast, but just in case you haven't watched that yet, let's say it here.
So for 2024, I wanted to read 50 books and I reached it by the skin of my fucking teeth. That was so hard, but I hit it. And some little like crazy animalistic part of my brain was like, okay, if you did 50, now you need to bump it. And I was gonna do 75.
Oh my god!
And then I was like, no, I was like, let's reel it in. 75 is too much. So I still did 60, and we'll see if that lasts till the end of 2025.
And I started 2024 with 35 as my goal. And then you all had me up it to 40 because you subscribed. And so thank you. And I, by the skin of my teeth, made it to 40. So because I started 35 last year and got peer pressured into doing 40, I'm gonna stay at 40 and we'll see what happens. Because 40 was hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a slow reader. But I'm hoping to, and I have a lot of things coming up in 2025, like getting married and
like a whole wedding.
Like a whole wedding. So I need to give myself a little bit of grace, and then our girl Aubrey will pick up the slack for the both of us.
To be fair, I think like most of the books that I read more than you were novellas. Like I definitely bumped it up in novellas compared to you.
Yeah, those Christmas short stories at the end of the year really help. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us on this vlogging journey.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and happy reading.
I don't have a mug.
I know. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Bye.